Hey guys, Button 25 here, watching the launch of Starlink 5 or 6, I don't know which one this is. These things are happening so frequently I lose track quite easily.
LDs go for launch.
This is, I believe, the 116th launch from pad 39A. And the 80...
T-minus 30 seconds.
4th, 5th, 6th one of those. Launch of the Falcon 9.
T-minus 15 seconds.
We're 15 seconds away from launch. Okay, now this is Starlink 6.
9,
8,
7,
6,
5,
5,
4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
And liftoff of the Falcon 9. I think this might be a brand new booster, actually.
Falcon 9 pitching down range.
Let's see that one.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
So it's B1.
Power and telemetry nominal.
As you can see, Falcon 9
Right,
has had
so.
a successful liftoff from pad 39A. Moments ago, we throttled the engines down and we'll throttle back up just in a second for preparation for Max Q. Max Q stands for maximum aerodynamic pressure, which are the highest stresses that the vehicle will see during ascent.
Right, I will just...
Maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Right, so this has been... this particular booster, first
Now,
on the
coming up
Crew
in about a
Dragon
minute,
demo.
we will have 3 events happening back to back. First is main engine cutoff, or
And stage
MECO.
separation then.
This is where all 9 M1D engines will shut off to slow the vehicle down in preparation for the second event, which is stage separation. This is where the second stage will separate from the first stage, with stage 1 making its way back down to Earth for landing, and stage 2 kicking off that third event that I mentioned, which is SES1, or Second Engine Start 1. This is where the MVAC engine will light up and propel the second stage along with the Starlink satellites to orbit.
Right, so it was used for Crew Dragon demo, the radar sats,
Expecting
and
MECO to
Starlink
occur
3.
in about 30 seconds.
And the turnaround time for this one was 2 months and 25 days. Which is, relatively speaking, it's not the shortest turnaround SpaceX has done, but it's relatively short. Alright, almost at BECO. Or MECO, BECO's ULA thing. There we go, that's MECO.
MECO.
Stage separation.
Confirmed.
Unlike most companies, SpaceX uses latches.
Successful stage step,
Boom.
and it appears we have reignited or ignited that second stage engine for SES1.
Looks like SpaceX. Right, SpaceX uses kind of latches and
And we're just a few seconds
actuators.
from fairing deploy. Again, this
Yeah,
fairing
you can
has
see
flown
the-
before on a previous mission.
Right, nice. And then you can see the grid fins deploying. Right, so SpaceX uses latches
Fins are opening
and
up.
Fairing
kind of
separation confirmed.
actuators. There goes the
And we
fairings.
have fairing separation.
And actuators to separate
We
the
have
stages.
successfully reused this fairing. And now those halves are making their way back down to the sea, where hopefully we can scoop them up.
And the reason for the use of those as opposed to explosive bolts
So
that
on the
almost
left side of
everyone
your
else
screen, you
uses
have
is
stage
because
1,
those aren't reusable.
which is making its way down to the drone
And I
ship.
believe could cause some
And on the
structural
right, you
damage
have
to the interstage.
stage 2, that MVAC engine burning with 250,000 pounds of thrust.
For those of you interested, this is B1051.
The grid fins appear to be fully deployed at this point. Now, while Stage 2 continues on with the primary mission, Stage 1's got its own plans. It's going to execute 2 burns prior to landing. The first is the entry burn. That's where we will reignite 3 of the M1D engines, which will help slow the stage down as it re-enters the upper part of the Earth's atmosphere. Shortly thereafter, we'll have a second burn, which we call the landing burn. This is a single engine burn that brings the vehicle's velocity down rapidly in order to land safely on the drone ship. At the same time,
okay, that's
during
pretty
that burn, you'll
self-explanatory.
see the landing legs that are currently folded up along the side of the rocket.
Due to
are going to
aerodynamic
deploy.
forces during re-entry would probably rip them off. You got bits of ice floating off there. The first stage.
MVAC is looking good right now.
MVAC is the Merlin
It's a
vacuum.
little overexposed on that image there, but we can
That's
still see the
not
plume
the first
coming
time.
out, and we're still hearing good data. So while we're 2 minutes away
Stage
from
2 is
entry
on
burn,
trajectory.
just a note on these Starlink satellites, these 60 will be joining the constellation that's already on orbit. As we mentioned, we've launched more than 360 satellites. And
Yes,
again,
because
these
it
are to
doesn't mess
provide
around.
high-speed, low-latency internet to people down on that globe that you see on the right side of your screen.
Why do they keep switching
The
back to the
MVAC engine on
overexposed
stage
image?
2 is at full power and on a nominal trajectory. Now as stage 1 is making its way down, again, there are no engines burning while it's doing this. It's basically coasting
Unless you
using
count the
brake
RCS
steer,
thrusters.
and you can see those white puffs occasionally. That's cold nitrogen gas that is being used for attitude control, part of our ACS system, or attitude control system.
Right. We are getting increasingly close to landing burn. The thing is with these Starlink launches, I can't say much more than I've already said in previous videos. Just due to the nature of they're all basically the same. They're 60 communication satellites. The deployment's a bit
Okay, that entry burn should be coming up here in about 15
different,
seconds. Meanwhile, stage 2 continues on as planned.
because there's no like proper separation mechanism. It's just they spin the second stage up and then cut what is essentially just some string. It's a bit more complicated than what they basically just snap those.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
There we go.
Stage 1 FTS is safe.
FTS is the
Goes
flight
for about
termination
20
software,
seconds.
which, if there's anything wrong, will basically detonate the first stage.
4 engines burning at once right
Stage
now.
2 continues to follow nominal.
Wait, hold up, 4? Surely you mean 3?
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Unless you're counting the upper stage, but I don't know
Successful
why you
shutdown of
would.
that entry burn. Meanwhile, stage 2 is looking great.
See the grid fins adjusting. Looks like they're doing some roll at the moment. Clear skies, but yeah, there's a bit of loss of downlink from the first stage. Could you switch from the?
Alright, full
Could you switch the
screen
not
sharing
over?
here.
There we go.
There we go.
Ah, great minds think alike, I see.
Now this burn on stage 2 is going to continue up until you hear
Why
the
do you
call
keep
out
switching
for
back to this
SECO
image?
1, or second engine cutoff 1. You're going to hear that pretty quickly after landing.
Stage 1 entry transonic.
That means the vehicle is below the speed of sound, the first stage. Upper stages, as you can obviously see, much higher than that. It's approaching 21,000 kilometers per hour. To be fair, the upper stage is now
MVAC
losing a
is
lot
beginning
of...
to throttle down.
Yeah, because you
Getting
can
ready
see
for that second engine cutoff.
how quickly its speed is increasing because of how light it is now that most of the fuel is being burned.
Stage 1 landing burn startup.
Enter
Okay.
terminal guidance.
There you can see a view
Right,
of
that
the
landing
drone
burn has
ship.
started. Let's see if we can see the plume in the view from the drone ship.
You can see some stuff getting blown around, but that could just be the sea breeze. And there's more vibration, so that's probably...
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
Stage 2
Yep,
FTS is
that's
safe.
definitely the vehicle coming into
It
land.
is.
Ooh, ooh. That's probably the best barge landing I've seen. So that looks like it's
We
down.
have cheers.
There we go.
Awesome. This is the 4th landing for this booster.
Indeed it is.
And as you can hear, everybody here is super stoked to
Oh, for
see
obvious
it there.
reasons.
It's great. Gorgeous
Especially
day.
because a significant
Gorgeous rocket.
chunk. Well, they just briefly showed a picture from inside the fuel tank.
All right. And we have second engine cutoff on stage 2. And we
There.
are in a good orbit as well.
Nominal orbital insertion.
All right, so now stage 2 is going to coast in this orbit for a few minutes, and during this time, the stage will actually start to
Otherwise,
spin around
keep
its central
expected.
axis, which gives the Starlink satellites the momentum that they need in order to space themselves out over time after they deploy. We're going to take a quick break and come back here at T plus 14 minutes.
Western Finland.
Right, so I'll just pause the video until we get to deployment.
Successful mission thus far.
Okay,
We've
so
had
we're almost at
stage
deployment.
1, ascent and landing, and stage 2 got the Starlink satellites into a good orbit and is now coasting and getting ready for deployment of those Starlink satellites. So we're going to listen in for the call out. It should come in about 30 seconds or so.
Hopefully
We
there
won't be
will
able to
some-
see that right at that moment. We'll cut to the shot of the satellites deploying a little bit later, but in about 20 seconds we should hear the call out.
I presume it's they're just an area where there's not that good coverage. With the scheduled deploy.
Payload deploy confirmed.
There we go. Let's wait because this is always a
Okay, so we
sight to
just
see.
heard the call out for payload deploy. Now, as the satellites begin to separate over time, they're going to open up their solar array, and over the next
There they go.
there they go. All right, that's those 60 Starlink satellites.
And yes, they do bump into each
That
other, and no, it's not a big
glow
deal.
around them. Wow. Now, shortly after, as I was saying, after just coming up in the next, few hours or so, we're going to see the solar arrays deploy. And over the next days and weeks, the satellites will begin to distance themselves away from one another and use their onboard ion thrusters to make their way to their operational orbit of
Those ion thrusters
550
use
kilometers.
quick time as fuel.
Sorry, that image just is always so beautiful and catches me each time.
Oh,
Now, with
I
that,
agree.
it brings our webcast to a close. We'd like to thank the 45th Space Wing for providing range safety today and the FAA for licensing today's launch. You can follow our website and social media platforms for updates on our next missions and milestones. So until next time, be well, and we'll see you next launch.
So yeah, that was Launch Starlink 6. I'm Bottom 25. Goodbye.